everybody, thanks for tuning into the PLICBooks training webinar hosted by Yearbooks. To get started, you will need to activate your PLICBooks account by accepting the software invitation sent to your email address. If this invitation is not in your inbox, be sure to check your spam or junk folder. Once you've logged in, the first screen you will see is your dashboard. This will highlight the overall yearbook progress, and each milestone here will be marked off by us at Yearbooks once you reach them. This is the subject management section. This is where all of your portraits will be housed once they are uploaded. If we are your portrait provider, we will upload your portraits after your last makeup day. If we're not your portrait provider, you will need to upload your own pictures by clicking on this button that says Upload PSPACD. Once you click on that, it will take you through all of the steps that you need in order to submit the pictures to the subject management tool. Once the portraits are in here, you will see that everybody is labeled by their group name or their teacher name. In PLICBooks, these groups are called batches. So if you click on a batch, you will see that all of the portraits of the students in the class are in that batch. They are labeled alphabetically, everything looks super nice, and then if you ever wanted to change the name of a student, say Gracie goes by Grace, you can click on this edit tool here and then just simply type in Grace and then hit save. Your changes are saved here, and if your portraits are already on your pages, they will automatically update on the page as well. So you don't have to reflow your portraits once you make those changes. Say you wanted to have your teacher on the page with their students. I'm going to come down into the staff folder and I'm going to find Miss Griffin. So let me look for Miss Griffin here. So here's Miss Griffin, and you can see that I did search for her name. If I wasn't able to find her right away, I went ahead and searched for her name. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag Miss Griffin's portrait into her batch. And once I let go, it's going to say, do you want to move or copy Miss Griffin into the Griffin batch? I'm actually going to copy her into the batch because I also want her to be on the staff page as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click copy. So she will be in both sections. Come back into Miss Griffin, and as you can see, she's listed alphabetically with the students. Now I actually want her to be in front of the students because she's a teacher. So to do that, I'm going to click on options. I'm going to check this box off right here that labels her as staff, and I'm going to keep her as a staff priority 1, which just means she's going to be first in the portrait flow. Say you have a teacher's aide or a student teacher that you also want to be in the class with the teacher and in front of the students, but not necessarily in front of the teacher. Those people you can put in as a staff priority 2 or 3, depending on the class hierarchy. So there, I'm just going to keep her as 1 because she is the teacher and I want her first. I don't have to really worry about staff prefix because her MS is already in her name, so you don't have to worry about that. And if I wanted to ever give my teachers a title, my staff members a title, or even if you are some of those schools that have a future occupation beneath their 5th or 6th grader or their 8th graders, you will add that into this title section here. So I'm going to just leave it as is and then click OK. And once I click OK, she's up in the front. She's no longer listed alphabetically, and she has this red asterisk here just letting me know, hey, she is a staff member. You can move people to and from different batches as well, just similar to how I did with Miss Griffin. But for a student, I can just click and drag a student over into a new batch, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put move. And when I do that, she's removed from Griffin, and then she's now going to be in Hoffman's class. Because of COVID and the uncertainty of students coming back to and from campus, and parents maybe not comfortable for students to be on campus still, there is a really cool tool that you guys can use to collect portraits of students that may not have made it to either picture day or makeup day. And that's through this parent portrait uploads tool here. If you click on that, you can share this parent URL with your school community, and parents can actually submit portraits of their student label their student with their first and last name and their teacher name, as well as their grade. And those portraits will be available for you to review and put them in your book upon your consideration of those portraits. So it's a really, really neat tool to collect those pictures of students that may not have made it to picture day. If you're going to have multiple people helping you out with the creation of the yearbook or submitting pictures to the yearbook, and you want them to have access to the entire yearbook itself, you can come into the Users tab and click on this Create User button. When you create a user, there's two different types of accounts that you can select. The standard account requires a valid email address, because what will happen is once you create that account, an activation link will be sent to that email address you set up, and they will go through the process of activating the account similar to the way that you did it when you set up your PLICBooks account. But say you are a teacher and you have students working on the book with you, and they don't necessarily have a valid email address for you to send that activation link to. You can click on the sub account, enter their full name, create a username for them, and create a password for them, and set up their roles and organization similar to the way I'm going to show you on the standard account. And what will happen is, instead of getting that email address, they can just take their username and password and log in automatically. But I'm going to jump back into the standard account here, and I'm just going to enter the full name of my test user. Test. And select the organization, so that's going to be your school name. And then select the role. So there's several different roles that you can give a user. You can give them a school advisor role, which is similar to the one that you will have. So it has full control over all aspects of the yearbook, can view all of the different management tools, basically has free reign over the book. If you don't want them to be an advisor, there's different roles that you can select. So when you select those roles, it gives you a list of permissions that each role has. So make sure you select their roles, and once you do, I'm just going to give this a user role. I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. And as you can see that the activation link was already sent here. And if you ever needed to change anything, edit their name, edit any kind of field from the user tab, you can click on this actions menu, click on the edit name. You can edit their role. So if you want to give them more permissions as the year goes on, you can do that. You can provide them with page assignments through here. And then if they forgot their information, you can always send them that welcome back email as well. One of the most important aspects to PLICBooks is going to be your Candid Photos library. So if you select Candid Photos over here on the left-hand side of your menu, you can see that I've already uploaded pictures into my PLICBooks account. I've already, made folders, but I'll show you how to make a folder and then upload pictures to that folder. So to create an album, you're going to go ahead and click on this green plus button, and I'm just going to rename my album Test. And click OK. Now I have an empty album to upload to. If you hover over every single icon, it'll tell you exactly what it does. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this Upload to Album button here. And there are several different ways that you can upload pictures. You can click on Upload Your Photos, which will allow you to select folders from a different folder on your computer. You can select Upload Folder, which will actually let you select the entire folder and upload all of the pictures within that folder. You can hook up your Google Drive, so if you have photos in your Google Drive, you can upload directly from there. And you can also log into your Instagram account and pull photos from your Instagram. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this Upload Folder button. And now I'm going to see where my pictures, what pictures I'm going to upload. So I have this folder right here that says Demo Photos, and I'm just going to click on the folder. I don't have to double click on it or anything like that. I'm just going to click on the entire folder, and then I'm going to go ahead and click Upload. And it's going to ask me, do you want to upload this many files to the site? This will upload all photos from the Demo Photos folder. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and click Upload. Before it uploads, it allows you to toggle through these pictures. If you wanted to tag the pictures, you can, but just toggle through them, make sure that everything looks okay. And if everything looks good, you can click on the Start Uploading button. But I do want to highlight here where it says Rejected Files. Now, in that folder, there may have been a document or a thumbnail or a different file type that isn't accepted in the photo uploading tool. It will tell you which file that is, so you can go back and review it to see what may have went wrong, or if it is a document, you don't need to worry about having that actually uploaded into your book. So everything looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and click Start Uploading. It's going to give you an overall upload status of the entire upload, and then it will give you a status for each individual image that you are uploading to that folder as well. Usually it takes a couple of minutes for a good handful of photos, especially it really depends on, the resolution of the photo, the file size, all of that stuff. But it does go by pretty quickly, so just be patient with it. And once it's done, we can go back into the uploading tool. Here are all the pictures that we uploaded. If you wanted to collect other pictures from parents or school community members, your staff members, you don't necessarily want to provide them with your email address so you're bogged down with a bunch of photos that you have to download and then re-upload, you can always come here to this guest URL. Now, this guest URL is specific to your school and specific to that folder that you have highlighted. So if I send this guest URL out to the parents, they will have access to upload just into this test folder. Now, when I say access, I don't mean they have access to the book. I don't mean they have access to the photo that's already been uploaded. They only have access to the photos that they have uploaded. So it's a secure link. They can't see anybody else's photos, anything like that. It's just strictly for them to submit pictures to you. Now, say they submit pictures to you and you're wondering where these pictures have gone. There is this obnoxious orange bar that will tell you exactly how many photos are awaiting for your approval. So waiting for approval just means that they have submitted it, and those photos are now for your consideration to approve or deny for the yearbook. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that bar here. And these are all of the pictures that parents have uploaded to specific links. Now, as I mentioned, each of those links are unique to the folder, not necessarily the entire book. So each folder has their own specific link. If I click on a picture, it'll tell me the link that it was uploaded to originally. And if I select multiple, it will actually match the album that they were uploaded to. So say you want to just upload all of them and you select these pictures and you click approve for album, they will move automatically into the album that they were originally uploaded to. But say, these pictures are from a spirit day or they're from a specific class, but I want them to put them into a Halloween folder or a holidays folder, you can do that too. So you can select on the image and then actually click on the drop-down menu and select the album that you want to approve it to. So it will move it into that specific album. It won't move it into the album that it was originally uploaded to. So that's how you approve them. Now, say I don't really like these construction pictures that were submitted, and I can go ahead and just click on Deny Candids. It will ask me if I, want to move forward with it, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. But say, you're gearing towards the end of the year, you're running out of pictures that you've already approved, and there's not enough pictures for, your specific page that you're looking for pictures for. You can always go into this View Denied Candidates section and see if there's any pictures that you want to kind of bring back into your approved album for you to use them on the pages. So they're not gone forever, they're just in this kind of limbo area. And if you want to bring them back, you can just click on the images and then simply hit undo. It will verify that you want to do this and you'll click OK. And if you hit back, it will send it back to the approval tab here. This is a great way for you to get your community involved, collect pictures from several different people, especially nowadays since they're limiting people on campus. So you're really going to have to rely on school staff and teachers and everybody to really make this yearbook a collective effort. If you're going to be offering online sales this year, you can access those sales under the Orders tab. In the Orders tab, you can see how many books have been sold, the total amount collected, and a list of all who have ordered online. If you are also accepting cash and check orders, you can integrate your cash and check order list within the online list as well. You can create an order, so enter that information manually within PLICBooks. If you already have an existing list going on Excel, you can import those orders from a CSV file. You can export the online list as a CSV. You can print the list. You can manage your bookstore, and you can also search for orders by either order number or email address. For the Manage Bookstore, we always suggest that you go through your yearbook provider for editing your bookstore. It's just a lot easier and it leaves room for little to no error. If you do want to provide your parents or your staff with an order link, you can access that link in this store link here. This link will be put on all of your flyers if you order your flyers from us. But if you do want to send it out either on Facebook or, through email, you can copy that link super easily from here. Once you're ready to start creating your pages, you're going to jump into the page editor. To do that, click on this Go to Book button. We're now in the page editor. When you first log into the page editor, you will see your yearbook cover first and foremost. On the left-hand side, there's a bunch of themes that you can choose from. On the top, these are all of the batches that we have in our subject management tool. And on the right-hand side is going to be where you're going to find your clip art, you're going to find your folders that you've created with all of your Candid photos, and down here is your page navigation tools. So you can click on next page, previous page, you can toggle all the way to the last page, and so on and so forth. One thing that I did want to highlight is this preview button here. This preview button is your yearbook ladder, so it gives you an overall bird's eye view of the entire yearbook. It does take a little bit to load, especially if you have a bunch of pictures on the pages like I do, because it does capture those pages in real time. So from here, you can navigate to your pages, you can duplicate pages, so say there's a specific template that you really like, you can duplicate those pages within the ladder view here, and you can also move your pages. So moving pages is super easy. You just click on the page you want to move and drag it to its specific position, and it will adjust your pages automatically once it's placed. I'm going to go ahead and just navigate to this blank spread here by clicking on Go to Page. Now the yearbook is really limited to your creativity. There's no rhyme or reason to creating the pages. We're just going to show you what works for us and what we find is the easiest way to create pages of the book. One thing that we do want to highlight is templates. Templates are a game changer and they're a lifesaver, especially if you want to save some time. Templates are just kind of a starting off point, so you don't have to recreate the page from scratch. Under this global layouts tool here, there's a bunch of different editorial type templates. You can also come down to this drop down menu here, and under Candid layouts, there's also the studio layouts. So the studio layouts will be templates that we have created that we've seen a lot of schools use. So there's a lot of pictures, there's space for a title, and again, it's just a starting point. You don't have to have the page be exactly like the template that you pulled on. You can customize it to whatever fits your needs. But one thing that I did want to highlight is this under Candid layouts here and going into global layouts, there's this button right here that says Auto Generate Collage. This is something really neat that I think I'm going to start using in all of my books because it will definitely save you a lot of time. So you can click and drag this Auto Generate Collage onto your page, drop it on your page. You're going to go ahead and click replace and click OK. And once you're here, you can select pictures that we have uploaded to automatically create a collage for you with the pictures on the pages. How cool is that? So I'm going to find that test folder that we uploaded to earlier. So follow and find test. Now here are all of the pictures in that test folder. You can select random, so the system will kind of automatically select random photos to put on these pages. You can select all, or you can actually go in and select or deselect photos yourself. Just for training purposes, I'm going to go ahead and click select all. I'm also going to create some padding in between the photos. So the padding is going to be the space, the size of the space between each photo. And same thing with the outside margins. This is going to be the space from the photos to the outside margins. So I'll just have a smaller outside margin, and then I'm just going to allow the AI to crop the images for me, and then I can go in and readjust the crop too. So once that's all selected, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And voila, you have a page. How awesome is that? Now, as I mentioned before, the AI has cropped for me. So say there are, some heads getting cut off or something like that, like this little girl's face here. I can click on the image and a toolbar will appear with all of the image editing tools. I'm going to click on the crop image tool and say I'm going to just eliminate her. Sorry, little girl. I'm going to just move this over so those two students are the focal point, because in the way that this is set up, she's not really going to be able to be in the photo with her full face. So I just made the decision to crop her out and have the focal point to be on those two students. Then I'm going to click OK, and it automatically adjusts here. So you can, be done, and that's that. Say you want to maybe put a title on the page. You can delete this and maybe delete this too. And you can double click on the page to create a text box. Now, in order for the text box to stay on the page, you have to actually type something in. So I'm just going to type in Spirit Days. And then same thing with the photos. There's going to be a toolbar associated with every single element on your page, whether it be clip bar or text box or a photo, and each of those toolbars will coincide with that element. So the text toolbar has text editing tools such as font size, font color, all of that fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and just find a font and adjust the size, and I can use this little green ball up here to rotate the images or the text box if I want. And also I can do that with the images too. I can come in and rotate those pictures. And say I want a clip art. So I can come over to the clip art, and each folder here coincides with a different theme. So you can find a specific clip art that will match your Spirit Days. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into painting a different picture. And there's a bunch of cute little elements here that I can drag on. So I'll just click and drag this on and maybe just make this a little bit bigger. So there is my clip art. If I want to add a background to the page, I can come over to the left-hand side, find backgrounds, and again, they are separated in different folders that coincide with different themes. So I'm going to find the Painting a Different Picture folder, which is here, and simply click and drag that background and drop it onto the page. If you're ready to be done, your page can be done. It's as simple as that. There's different tools and things that you can use to kind of spruce up your page a little bit. One of those being borders around your pictures. To add a border around the picture, you can click on the picture, navigate to this toolbar again, and there is a button called Stroke. Now, Stroke is PLICBooks' way of saying border. So you can click on that, select a color that you want. So I'm just going to select this really cute teal color and then click off. So you can see that there's a border here around the picture. Now, if I want to go back into Stroke and change the sizing of the border, I can, adjust the thickness according to however I like it. And I forgot to, select all of the pictures if I wanted all of the same borders. So there's a really neat tool in PLICBooks that you can click on the picture with the border and then come to this button here that says Apply Effects to Entire Page. And it will add that same size thickness border, that same color border around your photos and your clip art. So it gives it a little bit of a dimension. You can also do this with, any kind of edit that you've done. So borders, drop shadows, if you've, enhanced the color in any way, you can do that to the entire page. So that's a way to auto-generate the collage. If you want to restart altogether, you can come back onto Global Layouts here, click on this empty page, drag it over and hit Replace just as you did before, and it will automatically remove everything off of the page and just keep the background. If you wanted to revert the background to have it completely blank, you can come into the gear and hit Revert Background and have a complete blank slate. So then I'm going to go into just a normal Candid layout under Studio Layouts, just to show you the different versatility. So I'm going to click and drag this one over. This one already has a title and different photo boxes and things here. So I can just leave it as is. I can adjust the pictures if I want to by clicking and dragging, the little notches here. So I'm going to adjust this box here. But say I actually want this box to be multiple different boxes. I don't want it to just be one long box. I can click and drag that around, to the other side of the page. And then there's this tool here that says Split into Parts. This was implemented last year in PLICBooks, and let me tell you, it was a complete time saver for me. So I'm going to show you how the magic happens here. You can click on this Split into Parts button. You can select the number of rows and columns and how much space you want in between your pictures, and it will actually adjust that long photo box that we had into multiple different photo boxes that is equal sizing to each other, equidistant to each other, and all in the same line to each other. So if you're like me and you like clean lines and you like everything to be kind of symmetrical, that is the way to do it, and that's the easiest way to split your pictures to make sure that they're all of the same size. It's pretty neat. So once I've done that, and I actually want to pull over some pictures into the photo box, I can come over to the right hand side, as I mentioned before, and find that folder that we've created. So I'm going to find that test folder, and I'm going to just simply click and drag the photo and drop it into the boxes. It's super easy, super simple. You just click and drag and it's already there. One thing that you haven't seen me do is actually save my pages. The great thing about PLICBooks is that it saves to the cloud automatically every single move that you make. So if I delete this picture, it's going to save that. If I add another photo box, it's going to save that. And the way that you can check that if it has been saved is up here in the right hand side of your screen. You will see this little cloud icon here. It will tell you that all progress is saved, but if you want to be ultimately sure that it's saved, you can click on the icon and save it manually as well. Again, you can come into backgrounds and just click and drag a background over. So creating those pages are super, super, super simple. One thing that you will also need to do is lay out your portrait pages. In the subject management tool, that's where you truly just manage your portraits. It's for data purposes. You change names, you move people around, but putting them on the page is a little bit different. As I mentioned before, these are all of your batches here. If they're highlighted in blue, that means that they're already on the pages somewhere in the book. And if you highlight it and hover over it, it does say that you can click and go to that specific page and it will take you to where those photos are. Now, with Griffin, I know that she's not included because she's not highlighted in blue. So to easily put her on the page and put her class on the page, you're going to click and drag that batch and hit replace again and click OK. And she's going to be added onto the page. It automatically formats to names on 2 lines underneath the portraits. It automatically gives you a title based upon the name of the batch, and that title is easily editable, so you can just click on that and either type in what you want it to say, or you can remove it altogether. So I'm just going to remove it altogether just to show you the versatility of the portraits side of things. So I'm going to remove that title. And say these pictures are just a little bit too small for me and I want to maximize the portrait space on the page. You can hover over this, and depending on the number of students in that portrait flow, that would be the automatic format that PLICBooks has decided. So, Griffin does have a lot of students in her class. She has 37 students in her class compared to, the 24 or 26. So with that, I know that medium and large is probably going to be a little bit too big and the portraits won't necessarily fit on the page. But just to show you what happens is if you hover over this and hit large, the students will go onto the previous page, or the next page, sorry. They'll go on to the next page and they won't be on the same page with all of their classmates. This is a great tool if you want to, spread out the portraits, but to, consolidate them all on one page, you can come and either hit this small icon, or you can create a custom size. So you can select the number of rows and columns that you want your portraits to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and click 7 and then OK. And as you can see, it maximized the space of my portraits. And you can play around with the numbers, see what works best for you. But I know that like a 7x6 or 8x7 really does capture all of the portraits for a big class size, such as 37 kids. If you come over to the left-hand side again, where we found our backgrounds and our Candid layouts, there's also a button that says class layouts. The class layouts are basically templates for your portraits. So once the portrait and batch is on the page, you can come in here and select a format that works best for you and your school. So some schools like their teacher to be bigger on the page. Some of them just like them to be the same size. And some of them actually like, the names on the side. It's basically all up to you on how you want to format your portrait pages. But I'm going to show you the names under 2 lines and a big teacher portrait. So I'm going to click and drag this over. And as you can see, it automatically put that title back on there, so I can remove that if I want to. And it formatted the way that I wanted it to. So I'm going to leave this here, and then I'm just going to put Miss Griffin, 5th grade. And I can adjust the sizing, I can adjust the font, and customize it however I want. A really cool thing is if you have a portrait, already portraits on the pages, you can click and drag pictures over and the portraits will adjust around the picture. So if you have a piece of clip art or even a title or a photo, the portraits will kind of form around that picture or element that you added onto the page. If you wanted to add any kind of special borders or drop shadows or anything like that, you can click on an image of one of your portraits and again add a stroke. So you can, have a border that will apply to everybody. And every single thing that you do to this specific student here, it will automatically apply it to all of the students. So be sure to be aware of that before you start making any kind of crazy changes to it too. One thing that I didn't mention is this really cool masks button here. So masks and shapes will allow you to change shapes of portraits and candid boxes. So say I want my Miss Griffin's portraits here to be a circle. I can click and drag this mask over and it will automatically put them to be a circle. Same thing for your portraits and your candid. So any kind of shape you want, you can drag it over and it will change it for you. You can also come into the global alpha masks, and there's a bunch of different really cool decorative type masks that you can use. There's some bats, there's some fun like scribble type of a mask that you can put on, and it just kind of gives your page a little bit more dimension and it looks a lot more interesting rather than just a box on the page. So like I said before, your book is only limited to your creativity. So feel free to have so much fun with this and really capture your school, in the pages of your book. One thing that I did want to touch base on too is this little actions menu here. The actions menu will allow you to toggle back and forth to your dashboard, your subject management tool. If you have a subject index, you can toggle back to that too. And if you are an advisor, you can click on this project management tab here. When you're in the project management tool, this actually will allow you to assign pages to your different users using the ladder. So you can, come in under page assignments, select the user that you want to adjust the page assignments for, and, either deselect or select the pages that you want them to allow them to have access to. You can also see the entire user activity, so it will show you all of the users and the last thing that they have done on each page. You can also roll back your changes. So if you make a bunch of changes and like I mentioned before, it automatically saves and you're like, I didn't really like what I did last night, instead of going back and deleting everything manually, you can actually delete and roll back the version from the night before. So do that with your own discretion, because sometimes if you do roll it back, it may delete something that you didn't necessarily want to delete. So just be confident in that if you are going to roll this back. You can also add names and words to your school's dictionary. So say PLICBooks thinks something is spelled incorrectly, but it's, a teacher's name or it's your mascot or something like that. You can come into the project management and schools dictionary and add the names and words that you don't want to be labeled as, spell check. Under actions as well, you can come into this quality report here. So the quality report is going to give you an overall view of, the quality of your book before you submit it to print. So right now it's going to give me a sad face because there's a purchase ad that that hasn't been submitted yet. There's a couple low resolution pictures. There's names spelled incorrectly. If there's something that PLICBooks deems as inappropriate, whether it be, a nickname or something is misspelled and it's construed to be a swear word, it will definitely let you know to review that. And this just lets you know, hey, this is what we caught. If there's anything that you need to review, you can click on these specific pages and it will take you to that page so you can make your adjustments if needed. But don't get discouraged if there is a sad face here, because the sad faces are super sensitive. So if there's only like one or two things misspelled, it's going to give you a sad face. So don't take that to heart. But another and a last thing that I do want to touch base on that I think is super important to know is if you do have a lot of people working on the book, PLICBooks is set up as a true multi-user platform. So what that means is everybody, yes, can be working on the same book at the same time, but they can actually be on the same page at the same time too. If there are multiple people working on the same page, it will actually show the other person in real time their movement. So it'll say Mandy is working on this page, and it will show my every single move to the other user that's also on that page, which is great for collaborating, and it's awesome because it doesn't lock you guys out of the same pages. You can truly work on this together. That's all the time we have for today. I hope this tutorial has been helpful for you. We suggest that you play around with the different features of PLICBooks and push it to its limits. As always, if there's anything I can do to help, please reach out. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. See you soon. Happy yearbooking!